Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Online Darts Live Lounge with me, Phill Bars, and of course, joined by Jarleth and Jack Gobby Garwood. Gentlemen, good evening, and have we just about got our breath back?
Well, you two might have. I didn't really do a lot this weekend, but you smashed it out of the park nonetheless, so thank you very much.
At least you take it. No, to be fair, though, do you know what? We'll come on to this around the Women's Series in a bit, PV, but we've got a big shout-out to give to our friend, Mr. Garwood over here. I don't like giving him credit. However, we will come on to that, I'm sure. Yeah, what a week. What a ridiculous week it's been. We weren't here last week purely and simply because we literally couldn't get the time in. Barsley decided he want to go down to the Premier League for us. What a shame. And then now we're back here again, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to be with you as always. Get the comments in. I'm sure PB will get onto this as well. But get the comments in. It's going to be a fun old show, this. How the hell, though, Phil, we are going to squeeze in what we have to talk about over the next hour and a half? I've got no idea.
Yeah, we'll give it a damn good go.
Like we always say. We turn Jar's mic off and we'll absolutely cruise through. we're doing everyone else a service while we're at it at all. You just get to look at his facial reactions.
I was going to give you a shout out as well at the end of this podcast, Gob, or this video, Gob. But now, sod you.
No.
Yeah, like we say, it was a great effort trying to cover the Premier League, the Euro Tour, and the ladies' series and Grand Slam qualifier was tough, but we did it, guys, and it was well worth it. A few people already in the chat room. As always, good evening. How are we all? Friends of the show in there, of course. Lendl, Patrick, Rachel's in. Good evening as well. Martin, Dan, Corey, we're all in. Sorry if I've missed anyone, just scrolling through. Of course, if you are watching us live, get your comments in. Let's chat in the chat room. We'll try and answer them as we go if they're relevant to the topics we're on. If not, of course, there is the session at the end where we will try and answer as many questions as we can. And, of course, we won't hide in anything. We will try and answer absolutely everything we physically can, gentlemen, including things like Barney Agob.
Again? haven't you heard me rant about him enough yet?
He's your favourite player, isn't he?
And don't make me swear. Well, guys, in the comments,
don't make us put the explicit word content on YouTube.
Guys, in the comments below, the guys have hammered me because I've Halloweened it up tonight because I'm a huge fan of Halloween, but they're not. They're bar humbugs in Halloween terms.
Because your hair's the same colour as a pumpkin.
Oh, yeah!
Hey!
God's on it tonight. He's going straight in for the app. I don't know whether it's something to do with what happened to Virgil van Dijk at the weekend, but, I love it.
There's no need for that. There's no need for that.
Oh, there is. 100% there is. 100%.
Duffy's in the house as well. Good evening, Duff.
All right, lads.
Bloody hell, is he?
Yeah, he's in the chat room. Good evening. Rock and roll from Mark. Yes, that's what we do. Gary Price. We're coming on to him. And hey, Gob, we're talking all about our main man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gob's had a really good week, everybody. This is quite amazing to see, to be honest.
Right, so we shall crack on with the show and we'll answer questions as we go. As always, only one place to start. It seems a long, long time ago now. However, this man added another major title to his collection by winning the Ball Sports World.
He added his first major title to his collection.
I'm with him there, actually. I'm with him.
Right, in the words of No Context, no.
We do this every week, Philip. And 1 week, when we get a week off, we're going to sit and have the debate for the full 90 minutes about what is a PDC darting major.
We sort of kicked it off.
But at the minute,
I went one better. I went Twitter fishing and sent it out there. But everyone, maybe because of the Euros, but 1 week we are going to do a full show on what is the definitive, and we're going to get all the listeners involved. What is the list of ranking events and majors and where they sit? However, this man won another one. Let's be fair. In the final, it was it was quite conclusive in the end. He beat Dirk van Dijvenbode, and the best man across the week won. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I thought he played very, very well. There's no doubt about that. I thought that he came through 3 reasonably easy games, it must be said. His first round game against Jermaine Wattamina, he produced enough. His second round game against Kim, I've always said that I don't think Kim is as good as he once was and won't ever be at that level again. Jeffrey just won. A decent performance again, but just one dip from where he had been the previous night. The classic in the semi-final against Dave Chisnell. Chizzy decided that he wanted to try and be Lazarus again, and surprise, surprise, misses Matt Darts in a crucial moment. Who believed that? And he came through a finalist in Dirk van Dijvenbode, Gob, who had one of the toughest runs to a maiden PDC final that I've ever seen.
It's quite a contrast between the two, wasn't there?
Go on, let's go fishing. Let's go fishing on this one, Gob. Come on.
No, that's all I need to say. There was a contrast between the runs that both finalists found themselves on to be in that position.
However, with this victory, Gob, this man in picture right here is now above your boy. He is officially the world number 2.
Above all my boys.
How does that make you feel? No, you know which boy we're talking about. I think Gob's internet's gone again, everyone. He's ignoring us deliberately now.
No, it's genuinely playing up at this moment. Like, it couldn't be timed any better. Like, I haven't heard a word Jar's said, which is really a loss. But let me try and switch to hotspot.
Well, I'll tell you what. Then I'll jump in there while Gob's coming in and sorting out his internet. I've got to say this, by the way, listener and viewer. He is actually going to be moving to a house with some decent internet at some stage, we hope. He's told us earlier on in the week. But Phill, there's no doubt about this, in my opinion. He is the best player in Planet Darts at the moment. I appreciate what happened at the weekend in the Euro Tour, which we will talk about. Absolutely no doubt, I'm sure. But there was nobody. The thing is, as well, nobody laid a glud on him apart from Chisnell. Nobody laid a glud on him.
No.
And I know we talked about this on the podcast last week. That we had. By the way, if you haven't listened to it, it's just a podcast exclusive because we weren't here the week of the Grand Prix. Apart from, we weren't ever convinced that Chizzy was ever going to not miss those match starts, and that was the crucial thing. And you know, I'm with Gob for once, saying that he has won his maiden PDC major title, but
where's the mute button?
First of many. Well, I'm sorry, the Grand Slam cannot be a major because it wasn't ranked to start with. You know my thoughts on this. But it must be said that nobody can touch him at the moment in time. And also, the man must love Boyle Sports because he's won the Boyle Sports Grand Slam 2 years running, and now he's won the Boyle Sports World Grand Prix. He just loves Boyle.
As long as I don't sponsor the World Championships, we're fine.
However, Gob, right now
we work with Boyle. We work with Boyle for the week, and I fully appreciate everything they did with us. But don't you fucking dare.
However, Gob, there must be a real panic in you that this man now is arguably the favourite to lift the Sid Wardell Trophy right now.
Wow!
Come January the 1st.
Well.
There's still 8 weeks away, Philip. There's still plenty of darts to be thrown before then. Yeah, no, not yet. Not for me.
He's also not the favourite. Can we just appreciate the fact that? Can we also?
His London record is
apart from
piss poor.
Exactly, I was going to say that. Apart from last year, where he made the semi-final, he hasn't really done that well at the Worlds. He's like his record's very similar to another player that God loves, James Wade.
I'm just going to hold you both there. Until this year, his record at the World Grand Prix was also horrendous. no further questions, Joanna. Let's move on.
Hey, you know
Right,
me.
So was Peter Wright to the final, to be fair, but you know.
From
I'd
there,
love it. I'd love to get to win this. You know this.
From there, we had a couple of days break, but then it was the Premier League finals night. Now, it's not a spoiler alert because everyone knows that Glendoran has won a PDC title on TV. And wow, guys, we'll start with the two semi-finals first. Let's be fair, he dodged a huge bullet in the semi-finals. Gary pressed the self-destruct button. I think it's fair to say, guys.
Why on earth, and I'm sorry to jump in there really quickly, why on earth is he not going 1 double 12 on that 25 shot? Why is he not doing that? He literally won a world title this way, Gob. He won a world title this way. I don't understand.
No go ranting at me, mate. I was screaming the same at the telly while I was watching it. No, but I think if we linger on that for Gary for too long, then we're going to take some of the shine off it for does it. I think.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Don't get me wrong.
Finals night.
Agreed.
Pre-finals night, we all said a lot. I think all three of us backed Gary, did we not? Because we weren't sure which Gary was going to turn up because he's got this ability to just switch it on. And Dozer was clearly quite edgy in the semi-final. But I think that's because of his record in PDC semi-finals. Once he got over that line, you could see it was like he had me on his shoulders. He was genuinely carrying that much weight on himself because of the potential of the achievement. Once he relaxed and opened up in that final, he was unbelievable. And he fully deserved it. He deserved to win the league phase because he was outstanding. He switched off a little bit towards the back end. Maybe this break helped him. Maybe he would have put that performance in the following night. Who knows, or the following week. But he's been exceptional. And the way that he went on to win it was superb. And we wrote him off a little bit. 8 weeks ago, I started calling him the best player in the world. That sort of dropped off a bit. But he's still an outstanding dart player.
Yeah. The other semi-final...
Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on, PV.
We'll do the other semi-final before we come on to the final. Nathan Aspinall beating Peter Wright. And to be fair, he's done a job on Peter Wright in that semi-final, I thought.
Was the most comfortable performance I've seen Nathan Aspinall in the Premier League, to be brutally honest. Most comfortable I've seen him in the Premier League.
I just thought he did a right number on him. Yeah, 100%.
There's no way of putting it. But I'm going to jump in very quickly here. Okay, I appreciate Peter Wright's not on playing much about the European Tour at the moment, World Cup, absolutely understandable, and that's fine. My biggest problem is this, Phil. He's once again changing darts, and he is once again talking before he goes up on the dartboard, calling himself the favourite, calling himself this, calling himself that. You are only setting yourself up for a bigger fall. You're a world champion and a deserved world champion on the night, and a deserved world championship for the way to the tournament. That 1-4 against Malik, then we all know about it, to save his snaky skin, as Rod Stud said on the time. But do not talk unless you win events. You are not Michael Van Gerwen. You are not that Gary Anderson. You are not a multiple winner of big titles. You have won the world championship in the UK Open. Right? You have not won many big titles because you have one of my friends bottled a lot of finals. Don't talk like you have won major titles and look what we're doing about it.
Dan's just said in the comments, agreed that he was chirping off beforehand, and you could see with the little bit of media we got to do the day before, Nathan Aspinall was pissed with that comment.
Yeah.
And
all Nathan referred to in his post-match interview was Peter's antics before. He literally didn't mention the game once. He went straight to Sky and he was like, Peter said this pre-match. We're then in the practice room. He's barely throwing and he's looking to go, these are our championship darts. I know how to throw them. The fact that Nathan spent all of his press talking about what Peter was doing just riled him up. You don't give somebody like Nathan that opportunity or that incentive. I don't care who you are in the world. You don't give somebody a bigger incentive to come out and take you out.
100%. But then into the final we went, and for the first, I think it was 13, 14 legs, all on throw.
13.
Huge kahunas from them both. They both carved out little opportunities. One dart at the end of the combination missed, the other guy took out. It was just really good darts. But one moment I go back to, Glenn had just broke. he was 2 clear, throwing to go 3 clear, and Nathan had put in a tremendous leg, and then Glenn takes out, was it 1-2-1 or 1-2-7?
127 in game.
7 in game. I knew it was one or the other, and that bullseye couldn't have been. It was just unbelievable, and his finishing in the final was back to what we expect. That setup from 200 and his finishing down was just obscenely good, gentlemen.
Well, you look at this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Nathan Aspinall in that leg, missed double 12 to get a break back. Well, to get a break back, then he would have been back on throw, would have been 8-7. Right, it doesn't then goes and pings, like you say, 127 in game on the double 8. It was treble 20, treble 17, double 8, and the double 8 was perfect, as you say, Phill, right? So
yeah,
at that moment, that was the moment when his heart broke, Nathan Aspinall, and it was brilliant.
Yeah,
you could see Nathan.
There are some players who show absolutely no emotion. Yeah, there are some players who show absolutely no emotion. Nathan wears every single emotion of every single moment on his sleeve, and you can see it on him. And that did deflate him. You could just see by the way he reacted.
But that's why we like people like Gezi and Nathan, because we can see what's going on that stage through their minds. And even we got some emotion from Glenn on the stage as well when he took out a couple of those big finishes. We got some raw emotion from him. And look, he said afterwards this was the greatest moment in his starting career. And you could see that, how much it meant to him. And we said it in the build-up that perhaps if he didn't go on and win this, he'd never get a better opportunity to win a PDC TV title.
Well, I'm going to try if I can, to try and say I sort of called this and I sort of didn't, because on the podcast I listened back to the podcast last week, and I said that if Dozer wins that first semi-final, I think he wins it, but I don't think he will. So I'm going to say that I put my half houses on there. I said Nathan and then Glenn. So basically, my bets were covered on this one. I basically pretty much carried the spread. But
are you going back to primary school, Miss? Can I have half a point?
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm taking anything at this rate with the state of our guesses at the moment in time. But I must say this, that I just thought when he actually took out. When he took out the winning game shot, when he took out double 16, his beloved double 16 to win it, the emotion on his face. I've never seen a dart player that emotional about winning a tournament, because I think you're right, Phil. I think that he knew that if he didn't win this tonight, he wouldn't have got a better chance. I didn't think he'd get a better chance of winning a television title than the match play this year. When he was playing Dimmy in the semi-final, and then had Gary Anderson or Michael Smith in the final. But he came out and
I sort of agree.
A TV title.
I sort of agree, but for differently, because he was leading in that semi-final, and then Gary turned it around so much. That was the moment that changed it for me. If he'd lost that semi-final from a winning position, I don't think he would have got over the line in a PDC event, because it would have been another semi-final, and that would have been the stumbling block. The minute he got over that, the weight was off his shoulders. He could have gone on to make another 3, 4, 5 finals without winning them, and then that becomes the issue. But that semi-final was more important than the final for me. Yes, all right, he's won a title, he's won the prize money, he's done that, but that semi-final was massive for the PDC career of Glenn Doran.
I agree wholeheartedly with Gob here, and I now think because he's won a semi-final, he's got over that hurdle, and 2, he's actually won a title. I think this man is an absolute huge danger for the back end of 2020, because we've seen what he did in the BDO. Once he got over, yeah, but he's got over the line. I think those semi-finals were in the back of his head, and we saw what happened in the BDO when he went on that first Lakeside against Danny Noppert. The rest is history.
Well, you look at. Okay. Well, here's something for you, right? At the current moment in time, I appreciate it's all tight and tense and very, very tight at the moment in time. But at this moment, he's currently number 10 seed for the Worlds. Okay, that's how it looks. Okay, so he wouldn't have to play Marco van Gerwen potentially until the final on that side of the draw. That's the first thing. I appreciate he's got to play Peter Wright or Gerwyn Price, but that's another issue entirely. You look at the race for the tour cards as well. Okay, next year, he's currently world number 7. He's in the Premier League again next year. Obviously, there's no way they're leaving out the defending champ for a kickoff. And of course, he's a danger. He's won multiple titles. Like, just because it's his first PDC TV one, I appreciate the difference in quality, but he's won multiple titles. He's a 3-time back-to-back world champ. Like, he's obviously gonna be a danger. And I said before, this is back in August when I was sort of ish on the Gob hype train, sort of wasn't. That I thought that it does there at 14-1. That's probably what you're going to get as a best odds for the world. I imagine his odds are coming significantly since then.
I like 14-1s.
Not bad at all, I say.
Right. From the Premier League, I am going to call this right now. The moment of the weekend. We are going to Barnsley, to the Women's Series. For me, this is my highlight of the darting weekend. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Granted, I was covering the Euro Tour on the live blog. However, the stream for the Ladies Tour was always on, and I enjoyed every single minute of it, gents. Do we agree that, look, I know Barry's always said it's one tour, but surely the demand right now is too big to ignore around ladies darts not to do something in 2021?
I do, but then I don't get why the main tour becomes an open tour and then there's a ladies tour. It would be a men's tour and a ladies tour. That's where I don't get why. Again, it goes to how many opportunities do you give certain people, the same way that I don't believe that if you hold a tour card, you should be eligible for the development tour. You're already developed. Like, there's different crossovers for that. I think you should be not channeled into one thing as such, but the ladies could end up with 4 or 5 different ways of qualifying for the World Championships as opposed to a tour card holder who literally can come through the order of merit. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be some sort of either separation of men's or women's darts to have separate ladies events, or it needs to be built up a bit more first.
I think that's.
Don't get me wrong, the buzz around it is massive.
Look, that's where I'm with you, Gob. I think it needs to be built up. I think that, and I said this when the Women's Series was first brought out, I think that you've probably got about 5-10 years worth of ladies events like this in order to try and continue to get the standard up, so they can then play at Q School. They can then go and try and earn their tour card and play with Lisa Ashton on the main 128. You see what the Challenge Tour does. You see how the Dev Tour works. There are other qualifiers that you get, obviously, for the moment throughout the year to try and get to the World Championships internationally. We all know this. You know, the North American Darts Championship for a kickoff, the DPA events in Australia, New Zealand, etc., etc. My argument with this is that for now, in order to try and have a more competitive ladies series, you need to have these events. You need to have 6 to 10 events maybe next year on the weekends in Barnsley to get this standard up there. Because we saw the standard for Fallon Sherrick obviously throwing in 95. I think she hit, was it 6 of the 10 highest averages this weekend? Or 7?
Yeah.
Which is just mental.
I think it was 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, 6 or 7, right? So in order to try and get people up to that standard, I'm throwing 95s, which is a decent standard, to be fair. Like, let's not take the piss here. 95, throwing 95 is a decent standard. Appreciate 7 legs, 9 legs, or whatever, but it's a decent standard of darts you're throwing. In order to get more players up to that standard, you're going to have to give the ladies the opportunity to play against the ladies to get to that developing stage. They can keep playing the top players and they can keep playing, learning, etc., etc. Particularly now, I appreciate Mad's around and I appreciate that our great friends up over at Mad Darts and Amateur Darts, but the BDO's no more. There's no way they're going to be able to try and play there. So I don't think there's going to be a women's world championship like there was back in 2010. No. But I do think you're going to definitely see players in the. I think there's going to have to be a women's series. You're just going to have to play it. The buzz, like you say, the buzz on socials is ridiculous. And
I'm not against having a women's thing, but I think it would have to be more of an associated tour rather than a a PDC tag-along thing. Like, you've got like the Nordic and Baltic and the Asian and that sort of thing. If there was a women's version of that, where the top player would then qualify and you get one into that, that would be absolutely fine with me. But you can't play that and the Pro Tour. And that's the issue. That's where they have to decide which one they want to play in.
So look, I say, just
going off an associated ladies tour would be fantastic for the game.
I'm with that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said. Look at the top. It's no fluke that the top 4 in the order of merit all play on the Challenge Tour. That's not a fluke. That's because they play.
And one of them play
at that level.
And one of them is a tour card holder as well.
Yeah, that's not a fluke. But you look at the standard below them. Eileen de Graaf again played some good stuff. She just needs more competitive. You think none of these have played competitive darts all year, really, because of everything that's gone on. Lorraine Winstanley, again, she's won a BDO major in the ladies. Just needs more opportunities. Yeah. And the one that the Jack in the Box that people that study the BDO knew she was good, but was Felicia, Fan's twin sister. How consistent was she over the
very good
the time? Considering that she hasn't put a lot into darts recently, really impressed by her. But like you say, just the whole buzz around the ladies' game over the weekend was just something for me that cannot be ignored.
Also, very, very quickly, it must
completely agree.
And I hate to do this because I don't like giving him credit. But. Our friend here, Mr. Jack Garwood, I have to give you massive credit, my friend. I don't like doing it because normally I love telling you you're wrong. But you beat everybody to this. You beat everybody on socials at the weekend to Hedman, to Detta getting a place at the World Championships. You called it. We just tweeted it before Chris Murphy had announced it on the stream as well. By the way, can I just say, Chris Murphy and Colin Lloyd, absolutely mint commentary duo over the weekend. They were absolutely brilliant. But just before Chris announced it on the stream, we tweeted it out. You got a fair amount of stick, it must be said. You got a fair amount of stick initially.
Mate, I was panicking so bad.
I know you were. I could tell you were, but well done. well
honestly,
done to you. You absolutely called it.
Before we tweeted that out, guys, you want to see the number of times this went back and forth in our WhatsApp chat before we had the balls to put it out. We were like, we're right. No. Are we? Have we missed something? Because we were saying, because the PDC were actually tweeting that Fallon was in pole position. And we're like, what the hell have we missed here? Because by our accounts,
absolutely,
we're in our heads, we're thinking, what have we missed? But I have to say,
my numbers were wrong at one point as well. My numbers were wrong. I was chatting to my group chat with my friends as well, and my numbers are wrong because I'd added a Fallon 1-2-8 match in, so she could still qualify the first time I did it, and had to go back and check it. I panicked so bad.
Definitely. But we'll start on the Friday. Obviously, Lisa winning the Grand Slam qualifier. So she will be going to, I was going to say Wolverhampton then, but she'll be going to Coventry, not far away, let's be fair.
To play the same thing.
Yeah, to play in the Grand Slam of darts. And it was great. I think she played her best stuff on the Friday, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, she was outstanding on the Friday. There's no doubt about that. I think she dropped it was about 2 legs all day. I think it was.
Yeah, I think on the Friday was her best by a mile.
Well, actually, do you know what? No, I'm going to disagree there. I think the first event on the Saturday, I thought she was absolutely outstanding. But I'm just looking at her run to the final now because I've still got it up from when I was doing the report. She dropped 6 legs all day in that Grand Slam of Darts qualifier before beating Corinne Hammond in the final. Yeah. She was absolutely outstanding. There's no doubt about that. And she beat Hedman 5-2. Them two would beat quite a lot over the weekend. But no, I agree with you. I thought Lisa played some outstanding stuff on the Friday, deserved to get to qualifier and did so. But I'm going to disagree and say that Saturday, the event 1 was outstanding.
Yeah, definitely. She topped the order of merit. So it was a good weekend. She's going to the Grand Slam. She's going to the Worlds as well. There's a few conundrums to play out yet, as in her Worlds. Does she go through this, or she can still qualify through the outright order of merit? So there's still conundrums that I'm not sure the PDC have maybe thought of just yet, and what's going to go on.
Well, here's a question for you. Then. Okay. So I've just obviously by the way, viewers and listeners, what we do is we always look at the stats as we try and do this. We're trying to give you some insight into how it all works. And what we found out is at least Ashton currently is $2,500 away from the World Championships on the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Now, we don't know. We've asked the PDC for clarification on this. We don't know whether Lisa Grand Slam money that she's going to get counts towards her rankings. Obviously, if it does, then it counts towards her world push. And therefore, then she should more than likely get into the World Championships through the Order of Merit. The big question comes here. If she does qualify through the Order of Merit, will they give the spot that she's going to get to another Order of Merit person, or will a certain Fallon Sherrick still be going to the Palace after all? That's the big question.
Right. I don't know, but judging off, I asked Dave Allen, who is absolutely brilliant at the Premier League, because there was a similar case for Keane Barry, because he could have overtaken David Evans at the top of the Challenge Tour Order of Merit on that final day if he'd have won it. Now, I asked...
the weekend after he qualified by the Development Tour.
So I asked what the protocol was, and for that, it was the Challenge Tour place he'd have taken, and then his Dev Tour place would have gone down to the next one because the Challenge Tour is higher in the pyramid than the Dev Tour. So, I'm not saying this is gospel, but judged on that, for me, if Lisa were to win a place at the Worlds outright, I think the Pro Tour place takes it. Look, I'm just going off what we were told for the other ones, but I would suggest that if Lisa wins outright, then she takes that place, and the next one in line would be Fallon Sherrick.
Yeah, well, it's a precedent, isn't it? They've set that precedent with a different, similar scenario, but through a different part of the calendar or tier, if you like. And this is similar. The Pro Tour ultimately takes precedent over everything. That's the first one listed on your qualifying criteria, and then they go further and further down. So the women's qualifiers are added at the bottom, isn't it? It's like you've got your top 32, your Pro Tour players, and they're the order of importance.
Yeah, 100%.
So all is not lost for Fallon fans.
Really, as well, very, very quickly. Remember, she's also on £6,000 as well at the moment in time in the race for the Players' Championship finals. Remember, if she gets to the top 64 there, she will be guaranteed first round money at the Players' Championship finals. She's only grand off there at the moment in time. So if she has another decent run at the Winter Series, she could still get into the top 64 there in the Players' Championships and then qualify for the Worlds just by basis of being in the first round in that.
Yeah, exactly that. Woman there in shot, Dieter Hedman taking the second place on the Order of Merit, and she was sensational all weekend as well. And I think before we come on to her here, I think her run at the Challenge Tour the week before did her the absolute world of good confidence-wise heading into the Ladies Series.
Totally agree. She was, for me, and I know Lisa won 2 events, but for me, Detta was the most consistent player all weekend long. I think she was the only player, if my memory serves me correctly, to qualified for a semi-final. Apart from she obviously lost in the quarterfinals in the fourth event, but she qualified for 3 or 4 semi-finals. She won an event. She went to a final. She was mint all weekend, and Fallon will be gutted about the fact that 5-1 defeat in the semi-final, because that's ultimately what cost her. Simple and as plain as that. But Dieter Hedman was brilliant, and there's no doubt about this. She deserved a spot, and I'm glad that she's going. You know, I think I speak for a lot of people in darts when I say there is not many more people that deserves a spot at the World Championships. She has done so much for video darts. She's done so much for ladies darts. She deserves a spot, and I'm very, very glad that she's going to get a chance to play on the biggest stage of the lot.
I tell you what could have got messy, though, on that final day. If Fallon had won the final 6-0, they were tied. on legs one.
Leg difference, though, wouldn't it? Leg difference.
I'm not sure how the leg difference was then. To be fair, but it was an absolute conundrum that I don't think anyone foresaw it was going to be that close. But like we say, Dieter will be going to the Palace. We'll say the Palace because that's where we think it will be. It's still there at the moment. But just a huge success. And like we said, the buzz, the traffic all around the ladies series, please, this has to be now continued and built on because it's just too big to ignore, I think.
Cannot argue with you, Mr. Bars. Completely agree.
No. Look, everything on social media, this outshone the Euro Tour. That doesn't happen very often because we know the Euro Tour is the greatest sports tour in history.
Plus, as well, can we just say that they were in probably the most. Plus as well, they're in the most iconic venue of the lot on the Euro Tour. They're in the Glaspalast, the place where a Euro Tour's happened for the last 7 years. They're in the most iconic series of the lot. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But just before we move on, is there any YouTube questions about the ladies series? It's your final chance to get them in. Rachel, Dieter, so happy for Dieter. Love the women's series. Yeah, it was absolutely mint. Let's just go through. It's ironic the Queen of the Palace isn't going to the Palace now. It's what a shame. It is, however, hold that thought. I don't think it's done and dust. Don't think it's quite set in stone yet. I think that's a best way to put it.
Let's be honest about this now. If there is a way to get Phill and Sherrick into the World Championships, Barry will find a way. I don't wish to be like that.
Yeah, look.
Let's call it for what it is.
No. I think if that happens, it has to be done right. Is the thing. It can't just be.
No, I agree
completely.
No, but I agree with you. She can't just be chucked in. But
I don't know.
Is that
a couple of years ago, they gave a place for the highest ranked Max Hop.
Well,
also, did you not?
Love it. No, but genuinely though, like I'm not being funny.
Christoph Ratajski's playing well. You have a go.
Right, just a couple. Just a couple of YouTube comments here. We're not going to dodge them. Martin, ladies tour standard was amazing. Patrick, of course I'm going to answer this. I'm not going to dodge it. Phill and Sherrick. My opinion hasn't changed. In my opinion, Phil's A game. Phil's A game is better than the rest.
Do you know what, PB? I've got a lot of respect for you still consistently sticking to a wrong opinion. I've got a lot of respect for that. Fair play.
I'm sticking to my. Don't get me wrong. Across the weekend, Lisa played fabulous stuff, and she rightfully topped the order of merit. Not arguing that, but I stick to what I've said from day one.
Disagree there.
In any sport, I was told from a young age, the league table doesn't lie. At the end of a season, the league table for that competition doesn't lie. So,
well, all I'm saying is that the most consistent player was Dieter Edmond. Lisa Ashton got knocked out in the last 32. Dieter Edmond's worst performance as a quarter-final when she was already there at the Palace, even though she didn't know it at the time, but she was already there at the Palace. Dieter Edmond was the most consistent player this weekend. Simple as plain as that. Like, let's go for it. A floor game needs to improve, though, Fallon. And like to be fair, I've seen a comment here as well. Someone saying, "Why doesn't she have a tour card?" Then here's the deal. Let's be honest about this. A tour card Q School is an absolute lottery for a kickoff.
100%.
You look at let's just think about this. Okay, no disrespect here, but I'm going to use them as an example. Aaron Beanie has won 3 games all year on the Pro Tour, and he came through Q School. If it's your day, it's your day. Now to get a tour card, so. Let's think about this. Ben's also talked about this and saying the top 64 don't qualify for the Worlds. Remember, it's the top 32. It's unlikely Ashton does qualify via another route. What we're saying, Ben, is that the Pro Tour order of merit that would qualify for the top 32, Ashton might potentially get into the Worlds that way. because if she qualifies for the Players' Championship, that also catapults for a ranking. If she gets through to the Grand Slam as well, that might also go on a Pro Tour Order of Merit ranking, and it might go towards her ranking as well. For that, we believe what we're hearing from the PDC. But certainly, if she gets to the Players' Championship finals, then she would probably be in the top 32 Order of Merit potentially as well. That's what we're saying. We're not saying that she won't get through on the PDC Order of Merit. We're saying that she might get through on the Pro Tour Order of Merit to be in that 64 to play in the first round alongside the qualifiers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and the same as Lendl, only through via the Pro Tour and Merit. That's what we're talking about, guys. We've got darts ranking up here. We're fully prepped and know what is going on. So, from the ladies series, we're going to hop over to Germany. It was the European Tour. So, the afternoon session, yeah, it was all right. For me, the standard wasn't that great.
We have to talk about this.
The standard wasn't that great, if I'm being honest, on the afternoon session.
Do we have to? Yeah, but no, do we have to talk about this day? This whole day was. I'm not being funny. There was nothing.
There
on
are
this
a couple
day
of talking
really
points.
my
Like
attention.
The Germans got a good couple of youngsters coming through. Ricardo Petrechko, Kai Gotthard. Like, they look capable dart players, right? They didn't cover themselves in glory throughout the weekend, but the Germans are producing a production line now of future darting players, and it's taken a couple of years. It wasn't going to be instant. It's better than Robert Marianovic switching allegiances so he can be classed as a German because there's more opportunities for them. Like, they've been given the opportunity now. They are an expanding market, and you can see the players they're now producing. So to see, all right, albeit because they got more qualifying spots on the last night, but the players that did qualify gave a good account of them. So that wasn't the worst thing in the world. Willie O'Connor's walk-on the Euro Tour is still what it is. Not sure how. They just do not give to something. And how good, not his darts, by the way, because they were shocking, but how good does John Henderson look, by the way? We've picked up a lot of players who have taken lockdown and lost some weight. Mark McGeaney and a couple of others, but John Henderson looks superb. Fair play to the man.
Oh, he looks absolutely mint. And we said it in our group chat, I was like, wow, look at Hendo. He's no longer Big John. He's just John.
Completely new man. He looked like a completely new man, to be fair. I want to give a shout out, actually. Do you know what? There was a couple of things. There was a couple of things very quickly. I want to give a massive shout out to Adam Hunt because I thought he played superbly well against Damon Heta. Really, really well done. And another couple of games that I want to talk about. There was one of the performance. It was.
Jason Lowe was just about.
Yeah, decent game.
Yeah.
Martin and Clearmaker we can come on to because he had a really good run.
Before David Evans, I thought was mint as well across the whole Euro Tour, and I think he's going to do some damage next year.
Maybe, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought he looked.
He's
really
played
good.
darts consistently over lockdown, hasn't he? Modus, the home league from Modus has been superb for it.
Yeah, 100%. So
are you trying to work on the Modus Darts League next, Gob?
I'm all right. But it is though. Like, you look at the players that are playing well now. They've played darts over lockdown. You look at some of the players that have struggled. They're the ones that have openly admitted they did nothing on the board. And Evans played competitive darts day in, day out for about 8 weeks. To a good standard as well, by the way. Like,
I was only trying to dig. I was only trying to dig at you and PB. That was all.
Right, moving on.
You feel left out?
The problem is, if he wanted a job, it's me doing the interviewing process. Anyway, moving on. Right. Yeah. Day 2 was when the Euro Tour in Sindelfingen really caught a light. I thought Mike Copenhagen against Daryl Gurney. I thought Copenhagen played really well. In fairness to him, impressed.
Gurney's form is so indifferent.
Correct.
When he's good, he's good.
Gurney, remember, we sit there and go, I don't understand what he's doing. Like 18 months ago, Daryl Gurney never loses that match in a million years.
Well, I think Gurney's form since probably since the Premier League last year. Well, do you know what? Actually, no. I'm gonna call it now. Since he bombed that match play semi-final, he's not looked the same player. Since he bombed that match play semi-final last year to Cross, He's not looked the same player. He was terrible. And look, I've got a lot of time for Super Chin. I think he's a good player, but he's doubly needs to improve. And he didn't. His scoring didn't look great either in this game. And Koivunen even deserved to win, and quite rightly so. Koivunen had another great weekend, to be fair to him.
Yeah, Ian White convincing against Scott Waits. There wasn't really anything to talk about in that game. Thought Diamond just did a number on him. Again, Smith against Dirk Tanneckers, again, one-way traffic. Smith just did what he had to do and bulldozed him out of the way. Durrant against Nico Kurtz was a good game. I thought I enjoyed that. Durrant pulled away towards the end, but I thought it was competitive.
Yeah, you can definitely see the potential and ability in Kurtz, can't you? Like
100%. 100%.
We saw it at the World Championships. We saw that it was mint. Like, he's great.
And the World Series.
He still holds my favourite ever World Championship interview, and that's going to take some beating.
I did watch that. Yes.
Then from there, Jose de Souza again against Petrushka, comfortable.
We'll
Chizzy.
come on to Jose.
Yeah, we'll move on into him later on. # spoiler alert. Lucky D, Darius Labanauskas doing a number on the Chiz.
What a weekend he had as well, by the way.
Yeah.
What he's just done there is he's absolutely smashed his way potentially towards. Well, I thought for a second he was going to get into qualification for Europe, and he's been doing pretty well. I thought he was going all the way at one stage. To be fair to him,
and we're not just saying that because he tagged us in every social media post he put for the last weekend. But he was fantastic.
Really fan of the show, Lucky D. And then,
thanks for watching.
Then from there, again, we'll talk about this more in a minute, but Joe Cullen, the Jacqueline Hyde Joe Cullen, on day 2 was mint. Played really well against Kim Hobrechts. A real solid performance, 6-3. Jamie Hughes against Steve Lennon. Again, look, Hughes fell over the line, I think it's fair to say.
We'll talk about him. I want to talk about him tomorrow.
Yeah,
when we go to Sunday, I'm going to leave my.
Yeah, agree. We'll come. He fell over the line. This was a bit of a shock.
By the way, they said on commentary. By the way, just going to say really quickly, interesting stat they found out that Steve Lennon's never won a match on a Saturday, apparently, according to Paul Nicholson.
Yeah,
on commentary. I don't think he's ever won a match. What a stat that is, to be fair. Again, by the way, Dan Dawson, Paul Nicholson, Rob Malarkey, once again, smashed out the park. Brilliant stuff from them on the weekend as well.
100%. In the evening session, the Polish Eagle beaten. Now, this was a shock. However, Martin Kleermacher was mint. He played, considering on the Friday, he was shocking. He was awful. But he turned up on Saturday evening.
This was great. What a performance this was. Did not see this coming. Any circumstances. No. The thing is, as well, checkouts wise, 6 to 10 on checkouts, he was brilliant. Got a lot of time for that. Yeah. The big Dutchman did really well, and he's absolutely smashed his way into qualification standings. I think he's got half a chance of qualifying with $7,000. I think he might just about get there.
Yeah, definitely. Rob Cross, Adam Hunt. It's a pretty scrappy game, to be fair. I think it started well. But then towards the end, it got a bit bitty and, one of them for me.
Adam's putting in some good performances.
6-5, wasn't it?
He's pushing on a bit.
6-5, wasn't it? Not
he's,
6-4.
I'm just reading off the graphic. I think it was 6-5, to be fair.
No. Yeah, I thought it was, because I had to do a write-up for that one. And definitely 6-5. Game of the week, game of the day for me. That was great. By the way, that 1-1-4 checkout from Adam Hunt to win to get the break back was astonishing. Brilliant stuff from Hunt, and I thought he was going to do bits as well. To be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Just touching on what we'll come on to this in a minute. We'll do it at the end of the Euro as well, actually. Then from there, James Wade against Gabriel Clemens. Again, I thought Wade's finishing was masterclass on the Saturday night. Typical Wade. Didn't score particularly well. However, Bosch, clinical. And again, I'm going to say it again. Another disappointing performance from Gabriel Clemens. I expected more.
You were just waiting to unload that one, weren't you, Phil? Could feel that one.
I think he was.
I was expecting.
They've both thrown 100 average.
His finishing was
doubling,
awful.
4 from 13. They both averaged 100.
As Bobby George once said. Moving on.
No, agreed.
On paper, the game of the night, it was a repeat of a blockbuster last week. The Iceman Gadwin Price against Big Devin Peterson. However, Dev not at the races this weekend, I think it's fair to say. 6-2 to the Iceman, and he was fairly comfortable.
Yeah. Devin just didn't play well. It's the first time we've said that about him in a while, but he seemed to be very low. I'm not sure if there was something slightly off with the action that he's been working on, but a lot of his darts seem to be very low. I think he missed an opportunity early on to stay with it, and he just allowed Gezi to just take hold of the match, and he never really recovered from there. He was chasing a lot. He was visibly frustrated on stage. Just not a good day for Devon.
No. Then Mensur Suljovic against David Evans. Oh my days! Mensur Suljovic was absolute. That's one of his best performances I've seen probably this year. His finishing was mint.
Dross. His finishing was dross. He was 6 of 20.
Was it?
He averaged 105.
Did he score well? I knew he played well on one of them. I haven't got the stats up in front of me, but I knew he played well.
What I'm saying is he was 6 of 20 on the checkouts and he averaged 105. Imagine what he actually scoring a double. But you know my thoughts on Mensur. I will leave him till the semi-final. Don't worry about that. I'll leave it to the third round game. Actually, that's probably the best thing to talk about it.
Then from there, Michael Van Gerwen 6-1 over Merv King again. King not at the races this weekend, and MVG was comfortable with that playing well.
Yeah, disappointing from King. He's been in good form recently, but
yeah, no.
There's a lot of players doing that at the minute. There's a lot of players that are putting in good performances and then backing it up with some absolute dross. And I get that without playing regularly, that's where they're going to struggle with inconsistency. But even like the likes of Gary Anderson or James Wade, they're never miles away from an absolute stinker of a performance after playing so well to put themselves into a good position. And King's played well last couple of weekends. All right, comes up against Michael, but he's had a good crack at Michael over the last few years. Like when they've met, like there's a good little showdown, and that was poor from King today or Saturday.
Yeah. And again,
I think what? Oh yeah, sorry. I was just going to talk really quickly about that MVG King rivalry. Do you remember last year, UK Open 2019, where King put him out after MVG calling him a disgrace to darts? That World Grand Prix, was it second round game or quarter final? I can't remember one of the two, but that was the game of the tournament by a long way. This year, UK Open in the quarterfinals. Oh, sorry, in the Players Championship quarterfinals of last year, where Merv's back was playing up, and then again MVG talking about it. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, Phil. You know the Green Machine better than most, but I'm going to say that King is not on his Christmas card list.
Correct. Again, I thought Nathan Aspinall was fairly comfortable. Willie didn't play anywhere near what he can, and Aspinall cruised through that game.
He still came out to Zombie by the Cranberries, and I love him.
To be fair, on the Euro Tour, you can get away with walking out to anything. Have you've heard the DJ at 12 and the
I'd say the DJ, the afternoon DJ. I love the Euro Tour DJ. Please, more of him.
It was just literally, what was it, 3 o'clock in the afternoon? We had some right happy hardcore going on. It was like, where's this come from? And then in the final one, the Dutch destroyer Vincent van der Voort 6-4 over Max Hopp, and again, it wasn't pretty from either player, if I'm being honest.
I think it was his last game vibes and trying to just get on with it. I think is probably the best thing to say about it.
We were talking earlier about how the women's series dragged all the attention, by the way. It's not really difficult to see why after some of the performances on the Euro Tour. Don't get me wrong, Euro Tour is fantastic, but it wasn't the most gripping weekend of Euro Tour action.
Well, until the final day.
And just before, I'm the Graham Souness of darts. The reason is Lucky D, I don't consider as someone that is going to go and win titles. Gabriel Clements is being bigged up as this person that can go and win PDC titles, and I don't see it. It's like comparing Manchester. I'm not convinced. As I said, not convinced he can at the moment.
He's absolutely mint. What are you on about? He's made numerous. He's made a couple of Pro Tour finals. He's absolutely been smashed out of the park. I love Big Gabe, and he's learning English like he's no tomorrow. Made a UK Open. UK Open last 16 as well this year.
Oh, his English is hilarious off camera, by the way. He's picked up some great English. But look, I'm just not sold. I'm just not sold on him yet as a top player. I think his floor game is very good. I'm not arguing there, but I just don't think his TV game is up there yet.
Look, am I going to sit here and say I think Gabriel Clements will be a top 10 player by the end of the next couple of years? Probably not, but. Do I think he's got the potential to go and win something like a World Series title, a potential ranked event, maybe Euros or something like that, or a play maybe? Yeah, I'm not going to suggest that I'm not going to come to sit here at the moment and say he's going to win the World Championship, but am I going to suggest he's got what it takes to win a TV title? Absolutely.
Anyway, moving on to day 3.
Right, I'm not, so I can't get on with it.
I'm not going to lie. The first 2 games I didn't see because everyone knows I play football on a Sunday morning, and these stupid
you got
12 o'clock starts
for that. You got
I know, yeah. For that. my bad.
Sorry for having a social life.
Well,
yeah.
I'll give you the headlines from this because I was watching both of these games. Mike Koivenhoven, excuse me, was absolutely brilliant against Glenn. I thought I'll be honest with you, doesn't look knackered. And winning a Premier League and getting on a flight at 3 o'clock in the morning from Heathrow, yeah, that's tough. He did look a bit knackered, to be fair. So fair play to Mike Koivenhoven. Ian White once again really played well. Michael Smith missing key darts and doubles at key moments. Like that was the top 2 games at least.
I'm really not surprised by your last sentence.
Yeah, I comment here.
I was back in time.
Yeah, we just.
I was back in time to watch Labanauskas and Cullen, and I think it's fair to say that Cullen was dross.
Yeah, didn't look great. Let's put it that way.
It's funny on social media afterward, though.
I'm surprised that tweet. Is that tweet still up?
I was about to say, is the tweet still there?
Yeah. I don't know if it was hilarious. Am I allowed to say completely accurate?
No.
To be fair, look, if people are going to troll people on Twitter, I haven't got an issue with them giving it back like that.
Weirdly enough, it's not there anymore, which is a real shame.
Oh,
shock!
Joe.
Hello, Barry Hearn speaking.
Then from there, Jose de Souza bringing to an end the 24-game winning spree of the Iceman Gerwin and Price. And to be fair, Jose deserved it. He played really well.
He played well. Price didn't get out of the races. I don't think that often. That in the game, to be brutally honest, I didn't think he played particularly well. And even he said it himself. He didn't particularly play well. He missed 3 of 15 on 3 of 15 on doubles. That is not a Gerwin Price that we know. And again, at the end of the day, people lose darts matches.
What?
Say that again.
Which one?
The intro you gave to that match.
What? De Souza bringing to an end the winning run?
Yeah, but that was Devon last week, wasn't it?
He's won 23. He'd won 23 of his previous 24 matches.
Yeah, same thing. He's best player in the World Cup. We can do what he wants. To be fair to Gezi, though,
how much do I want that modus job?
to be fair to Gezi, he lost it and he did well. He was back in Markham by Sunday night. He did well to get home that quick.
Fair play to him to do that. But he just didn't. I'll be honest with you, he just didn't look at the races. He didn't look at the races doubles wise. 3:15, not good. Simple as. That's not what we see from go. That's not what you see from going Price that often. Simple as.
No, this is the game I think we're all going to have a say on. Mensur Suljovic beating Jamie Hughes 6-5. And if you didn't watch the game, everyone, Jamie Hughes was 5-0 up. Yes, I did say 5-0. Where do we start, gentlemen?
I prefer not to speak.
Right.
If I speak,
Start.
I'm in big
Mensur
trouble.
was
And I do not want to be in
shocking
big
to
trouble.
start, but he so up and down.
He was shocking.
I got
throughout the whole
so
game.
much abuse. I got so much abuse from my group chat for saying Hughes has bowled it. And it's not the first time that he's done it. And everyone's like, you can't say that. He's won a Euro Tour. And I was like, fair enough. Like, he was fantastic. But he won the hottest Euro Tour on record.
Euro.
Like,
Max Hopp's Euro.
that plays into
Tour.
it.
Does that mean he's not a bottler?
No, look let's be safe to say he bottled it.
Done since the Euro Tour?
Look, Jamie Hughes bottled it. Let's not beat around the bush. The facts speak for himself. He missed multiple match starts over many legs. Had the opportunity to kill him off and didn't. You can't sugarcoat that fact.
There was some aspect of
das
this.
Ist nicht
some of the
sehr
crowd
gut.
and all that sort of stuff. Was that sorry?
Das ist nicht sehr gut. Because it was in Germany.
Very good indeed. Yes, but there was some whistling in the crowd and all that sort of stuff. It was what it was. Georgie knows wasn't particularly happy with it. But even so, man, you can't miss
Shock though.
for the double. We saw it. Yeah, well, yeah, we saw this right.
5-0 up. Noble's like, I've got one.
Year.
I've got one.
Noble.
You stay there, Georgie boy. You stay there, Georgie boy.
We've got another 6 legs yet, George.
my favorite moment of the whole day was it on a Sunday? I think the whole weekend was what I think it was in this game between Mensur and Jamie, and you just saw as he's giving the 11th and final leg speech. He's there with his eyes closed. 11th and final leg.
And final leg. Yeah, as if to say,
Mensur to throw.
Yeah,
just go. How has this happened to me again? But
knowing George very well, what came out of his mouth and what he was thinking were two completely different things.
I bet he was thinking, for God's sake. Stronger than that, probably.
I'd probably stronger than that, and it's not broadcastable.
No. What I'd say is this, though, about Jamie Hughes. Right, really quickly. We saw this in the UK Open against Johnny Clayton. He missed big darts to win and get through to a maiden PDC TV semi-final. It didn't happen. He missed his darts again in this position. Mensur comes back somehow and fights back. I don't know how. But yeah, just you can't lose from 5-0 up. You can't. Just god awful.
However, moving on, Rob Cross beating Martijn Kleermaker 6-1, and this is probably the best I've seen Rob look for a while. Mm-hmm. The throw looked good, the mechanics looked good, and the average. Yeah, exactly. I thought Rob played really well against Kleermaker. In fairness to him.
He did, but he's in that category of the players that I listed earlier. Your James Wade, your Gary Anderson, your Joe Cullen. They're going to fall off a cliff after a good performance.
Yeah. You don't know what's coming next. 1 minute it's majestic. The next minute it's, oh, hello, I'm on. Yeah, I agree that. Yeah, you don't know what's coming, but Rob put in a good one there. Then from there, Nathan Aspinall beating James Wade 6-2. Again, fairly interesting game. Look, again, Wade missed a few darts at a double, but wasn't really in the game, let's be brutally honest. Then
I'll give you that one.
The last game was interesting. Michael van Gerwen beating his best mate, Benson Mandeville 6-5. And to be fair, until the last two legs, it was decent. To the last two legs, it was like, all right. And then, the last leg, well, they both missed 5 match starts each before MVG got over the line.
Yeah. Well, you look at the checkout stats, Phil. You look at the checkout stats.
Yeah.
MVG 6 of 26, Vincent van der Voort 5 of 28. Game was dross. Let's have it right. The game was dross.
100%.
Even Michael Van Gerwen said it himself, and I think he's going to get another call from Barry in the next couple of days.
Michael's interview afterwards was genius.
Michael Van Gerwen
socially distanced DRA Christmas party is slowly building a good part.
Well, I said 6 months off. They got to double these fines, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They got to pay for Zoom Premium. I'll have to call each other back every 40 minutes.
Then, moving on to the evening session, it was Mike Covenhausen against Ian White. Yeah, an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how White got as far as he did.
I thought he played pretty well.
He's not been playing very well.
No, but what does he always do on the Euro Tour? He always has that one amazing run that shouldn't happen, but does. That is literally what Ian White does normally on a Euro Tour. He'll come out of nowhere and go and win one because that's what he does. So
yeah, but he does that averaging over 100. He didn't do that this weekend. Michael Smith was 2 from 18 on the doubles against him. Mike Covenhausen wasn't a lot better. The averages weren't there. The performance to put Ian White away wasn't there. Whereas I think other players dodged larger bullets to make the final part of the action.
Yeah, look, he averaged 80.
If somebody had thrown something at Ian White, I don't think he had it to throw it back at him until the semi-final.
Yeah, no, agreed. Then Jose de Souza beating Darius Labanauskas 6-4. And again, I enjoyed this game. 98 average from de Souza, 95 and a bit from Labanauskas. Just a good game, to be fair. Both competitive. And it was good.
Good one for the neutrals and all. Like, all right, we big up Jose. Darius has done bits, but there aren't many hardcore fans of either on social media. Like, it was just a nice, enjoyable game of good quality darts.
Yeah, no, it was. It was
and a couple
decent.
of miscounts.
Then, yeah. Then from there, we had, as Nico would say, we had a bagel. Mensur Suljovic whitewashing Rob Cross, and Rob Cross fell off a cliff. I think it's fair to say 6-0, an 81 average. Not pretty from Cross, but again, consistent from Suljovic.
Yeah. Once he made that equipment change on stage on the Friday or Saturday, whenever it was, he looked a different man.
It was on the Saturday. It was when he was
when
he was getting humped by Jamie Hughes. He changed equipment. And in the last quarterfinal, MVG 6-5 victory over Nathan Aspinall. Again, in the final leg, they both missed multiple match darts. But it was MVG got over the line, 99 and a bit average. Nathan, 98. Even with those missed darts, it was still a decent game.
Yeah, it was okay.
Tension, good drama.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything special. Like, it was a good game, as it always is between those two on the Euro Tour. Asp and Van Gerwen normally deliver great matches, and that's what they did.
First semi-final, Jose de Souza, 7-6 victory over Ian White.
The weekend. I'm not even going to jump. I'm not even going to let you finish the intro, Phil. Game of the weekend by a long, long way. This game was tremendous.
It was a funny game because, look, Jose battered Ian White scoring-wise. However, Ian White's combination finishing in this game was absolutely mint. Putting that combination finishing...
I don't get where this came from either.
Well, considering the Covenhausen performance, I agree with you.
Before the start of the semi-final, Ian White's highest checkout of the weekend was 78. He won 6 legs in the semi-final, 5 of which were a higher checkout than his tournament best before the match. And he missed darts for the 126? No, 105 for the match, maybe?
Yes, it was 105 for the match.
Yeah. So he nearly had 6 or 7 legs that would have all beaten his tournament highest checkout. That's what he needed, though. Well, I mean, Jose was meant.
He
is
tremendous. Well, the fact is, finishing in that game was tremendous for a kickoff, right? And also, can we just say, 11-dart leg to break the throw in the final leg of the match. That's stones. That is
100%. 100%. That just a great game of darts. And the second semi-final, you look at the scoreline, and Michael van Gerwen beating Mensur Suljovic 7-1. But that was a strange game.
I've said it before and I'll say it again.
Strange.
Yeah, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. Mensur doesn't excite me anymore. He's not a top 10 player anymore for me.
Before we come on to the final,
he won the Champions League twice, and every time he sat there going, Mensur, could you win this? And he goes, no, I'm not good enough. He's in the top 8 in the world. He played very, very well in the Premier League the years he was in it, but didn't get the results. He's won Champions League against effectively the same field. Like, he's an exceptional darting talent. He just doesn't believe in his own ability. I'm not going to go into how good the Champions League is as an event, but it's against the Premier League field over a longer distance.
It's a weekend event.
Except you don't handpick a granddad in to sell some seats in Rotterdam.
There it is. Really quickly, I know we've got to go to the final, but let me say this now about Mensur. The only time that he's looked anywhere half decent was in that World Match Player 2018. And he produced the best final I've ever seen against Gary Anderson. No one was stopping Gary Anderson that year. He was the best player in the world. Appreciate he's with the Champions League, but he just doesn't excite me. I always like, whether you are a slow player, a quick player, whatever, I don't care as long as there's something about you. Apart from the headbutt, which we haven't seen a lot of recently, what is there from? What is a Mensur Suljovic? What is it? Because I don't know what it is. And until such time as we get a consistent level from Mensur, I don't know what it's going to be. And I want a competitive field. I want Mensur to be up there. I want them all to do well, because when they all do well, darts does well. But it just doesn't excite me. It just doesn't grab my attention. But I don't know. But I'm going to get pelters in the comments, I'm sure, from that. So there we go.
Just before we go on to the final question about Michael van Gerwen's Robin Hoods at the moment. Look, it happens in darts, and people are saying it's happening more often.
Good sign.
If you're throwing well, yeah, because your dart's following the same flight trajectory as the last one, so it means you're throwing straight.
Yeah,
for me,
it's a good sign. It means he's got the grouping back, if you like. Possibly change the entrance angle a little bit if you wanted to avoid it, or I don't know, change his flight and stem combination. But it's worked for him for so long. It's a good sign. It happens, all right. We don't see it that often anymore, but a lot of players have used little chips or tricks or different little setups to avoid it. But it's good. It means he's grouping the dart well.
Yeah. On to the final.
It's annoying because you're not scoring the points for it, but it's good.
Moving on to the final, Jose de Sousa against Michael van Gerwen. What a performance from Jose. An 8-4 victory with near on 106 average. He was faultless. Absolutely faultless in the final, gents. Would you agree?
Well,
unbelievable.
Go you go, mate.
I didn't see it coming. I even put in the group chat before you, I put the inverted score, but to the other man. Because we've seen Jose get that deep in tournaments before against Michael and struggle. Because as soon as he approached the winning line the last time they met in a final, the darts start dropping. He gets a bit of tension in his arm. The release gets a little bit jerky, but he was superb. And that 88 finish, the 146 was unreal. The 88, top rate. For him to get all the way through a match without miscounting as well. For him to get all the way through a match without miscounting and then do that to win it.
I thought it was mint. I thought it was incredible for a kickoff. The 146, by the way, was great because MVG just goes and pings in a 171 to leave 132, and you know he wants to take that finish out to get back on throw. So then to Sousa to find the 146 to basically stop any chance of the comeback. That broke MVG's heart. That was meant for a kickoff. He was averaging near as enough as, damn it, 12, 13 points higher throughout the entire game. 8-13 on the checkouts, a double-double finish. Jose de Sousa, you are an absolute mad case, but I bloody love you. We met him at an exhibition Gob and I did in March. He was unbelievable. He was so funny, and I've got so much time for Jose de Sousa. But to be fair, I'm not just saying this. The entire management stable that he's under and their manager, Mac Elkin, they all are brilliant. I mean, to be fair, he's also managed Glenn Durrant, so he's not had a bad week, has he? He's not had a bad week picking up 250.
Dimmy was meant to be at that event, and then Glenn and Jose were, and they've all picked up titles since. So
basically, yeah, exactly. So basically, Matt, what we're saying is come back every time, but he was brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's the Euro Tour, everyone. Right, we're going to enter question time, as we call it. Anyone that's watching in the chat room on YouTube or wherever, please get your questions in to us. There's one in there. MVG has withdrawn from the European Tour this weekend. I don't know. I haven't seen anything because we've been obviously on air talking to you guys. So I don't know is the honest answer.
I'm just having a quick look myself.
He does normally.
I've not got anything off the PB.
Reset is one where you do normally get more withdrawals than a lot. It wouldn't be a surprise. But
I mean, to be fair,
we haven't seen anything officially yet.
He hasn't actually won a Euro Tour title yet this year. I'm pretty sure there's only going to be 4, but that's what he's normally got in that position enough to qualify. I think with that final run he has, and let's be honest about it, Risa is an absolute trek to get to.
And we all know only one person wins in Risa.
Correct. And that is the Iceman.
So yeah, the honest answer is I don't know because we've been on air, so we don't know if he has or not. So yeah, Phill, which Jose is really the special one? Obviously Mourinho. No further questions. Boring.
Sunday.
Well, I don't know. De Sousa didn't bottle a 3-0 lead this weekend.
No. I'll take goals all day long. We played under Harry Redknapp for 2 years. Some of the best football I've ever seen in my life. We like goals at the lane. So yeah, someone talking about Jose de Sousa, amazing. Completely agree. Jacob, sorry, missed the start. Don't worry, mate. You can catch us. This will be on YouTube as a normal video, so you can always catch us there. We appreciate anyone that comes in, no matter what time you join us. I say we do this for you guys to fill you in. Just get into that. Hold your horses, son. Hold your horses. Yes, and it will be available as a pod on all good platforms as well, because Giles got to edit it after we finished.
Can't wait. Monday Night Football straight after this as well. Lovely. The American football, not English football.
Question from Jacob. Do you think Fallon missing out on the Worlds will damage her mainstream appeal? No, not at all. No.
She's the girl. She's
the main story about the event on the BBC website this weekend was Fallon missing out, not the other two achieving. And whilst that does take the shine off what Lisa and Dieter are doing, because this is how media works. I don't necessarily agree with it, but because Fallon drew the media attention in to start with, you have to lead with her if you're in the media, because that's how you get the casual people to your website. That's how you get people to click onto your article about darts, right? Fallon draws them in, then you can give the bulk about how good the other two were. If the article doesn't do that, then I'm sorry, it's poor journalism. But your headline has to be Fallon, no matter what her result is, because of her previous exploits in the PDC.
End of the day, really quickly, we saw the numbers that came through with what happened against Ted. We were there. We were all there on that night. Well, I was there for a set, and then I had to run home and get the train. We saw what happened on the Suljovic second round. That on a Saturday night, that drew in probably the highest numbers that Sky probably had for the World Championships in a long time, and then the highest afternoon session numbers ever for the game against Chris Dobie. She draws numbers. No way does that change the mainstream appeal. Simple as plain as that. No way.
No. So yeah, cheers, Jacob. Sam, how do you see the ladies' game realistically progressing? Look, we spoke about it earlier. if something isn't done now with the momentum and the buzz around, it will never happen. I think we're all in agreement of that. The way it's gone this weekend, someone has to run with it. Obviously not in 2020, but there has to be plans afoot for 2021 to progress the great things we saw this weekend. The buzz around it on social media, the buzz in the venue, the streaming numbers, and just the standard. Because everyone was like, "Oh, there's only 3 or 4." Wrong. There were some mint games throughout. So look, I think I've always had a soft spot for ladies' games. Everyone knows, from Lakeside and everything like that. Please, please, please. This is the time now where we have to back it and run with it. So I hope that helps. Sam, Patrick, what are your opinions about Boris Kirchmar, player to avoid the World's Draw? Absolutely. He's played some great stuff when we've seen him on the Euro Tour and everything like that. Absolute beast. An absolute
I don't want to play anybody called Boris at the World.
No. So yeah, Dan, if Devon or someone else like Jose wins the Euros or Players Championship, do they get picked for, I think, the Premier League? Euros. I'll get you the Euro final. Look,
good question.
Look, the unwritten criteria. This isn't written down. However, if you win a televised title, you get picked for the Premier League. Yeah. Look, in all the years the Premier League's been going, it's only ever Paul Nicholson that has won a televised title that has never made the Premier League cut. Kevin Painter from nowhere won the Players' Championship finals, got picked for the Premier League. So, look, if someone outside the top 10 wins one of the TV events, do I think they'll get picked for the Premier League? Yes.
What about if James Wade drops out of the top 10 but wins the Players' Championships?
Barry will find a way not to pick him.
Yeah, look, I think reluctantly that they pick him. This isn't saying James isn't a great player, but the Premier League is a different set of boxes you have to tick. It's just not about darts, as we know. And James is a great player, multiple winner, but he doesn't tick the exciting boxes on the criteria list. I think it's fair to say.
The thing for me is that if someone else from outside the top 10, like we saw with Dimmy, and Dimmy is a great story, and if someone from outside the top 10 wins the Slam, wins the Euros, all the players, the Premier League picks, and I'm sure we'll go into them next week because all we've got to talk about is the Euro Tour and then the European Championship. But the Premier League picks, if someone else doesn't win those next 3 TV titles from inside the top 10, the Premier League picks are a mess. An absolute mess. I can't wait. I would love to be in that board meeting if that's the case.
Do you think they expand it to fit all the regulars in? Or do you think they just run without some?
I think let's have run without some. Sky wouldn't want any more than 5 games a night.
No, 100% not.
So it's 10.
They might.
And if someone wins,
they might do 6.
Someone's missing out. That's the way it is.
You've got to go and put in you've got to go and put in a performance at the World Championships. It's simple as plain as that.
100%. Next one. How many women will win a tour card at Q School? Look,
well, this is
Q School's a lottery. Q School is a general lottery because there's no seeding. The draw, you could have all the good players lumped in one quarter of the draw. They knock each other out, and someone comes through. So, look,
we saw that. To be fair, you saw that with most of Fallon's games. Just taking as an example, Makuru as well. She was grouped in with some decent players who were averaging 80, 85, 90 in rounds 1 and 2. Well, you've got people chucking in 45s and 50s who are getting through to rounds 4, 5, and beyond because they've got an easier lie. It's just how it works. So it's a complete
you could get a bye in round 1. 2 dross players play each other in the first round. You get the winner of that. Then all of a sudden you're 3 games deep in the draw and you've played no one. So Q School is complete luck of the draw. But who do I think out of the women is capable? right now, out of the ladies that are playing at the top level, who's capable of winning a tour card? For me, Fallon, Makuru, Dita, and right after what I saw at the weekend, I'm going to throw Corinne into that bracket as well. Yes, the draw would have to be nice. However, she's more than capable of averaging high 80s, early 90s, and if the draw is nice, she could win a tour card as well. I think those four right now are more than capable of going to Q School and winning a tour card.
Well, she got to the Grand Slam qualifying final, did Corinne, for a kickoff. So she did well, and she made the final as well.
That's
at the
what I
back
mean.
end of the. Yeah, she made the final.
She put in some good averages
as well. So she's not. Yeah,
she put in some good averages. So I think any of those are capable of going and winning a tour card. I think that's the best way of putting it, because until you see the draws, mate, we just don't know. Next one, who needs to win to qualify for the European Championships? Well, this is
anybody
tighter
else
than a duck.
Really.
Right, so we've got Dirk van Dijvenbode on 15 grand. I'm sorry, ranked 15 on 7.5 grand. Do we think that's enough? Where are we setting the benchmark for money?
I'm gonna say 7. I think.
So we're saying.
To be fair,
so we're saying Dirk 7.5.
No, do you know what? Actually, sod it. No, I'm not going to say 7. I'm going to say 6, because there's so many players down the bottom that haven't qualified for Euro Tour 4, so they won't get a chance to get up there before the seeds come in. So I think I want to say 5. I don't think 5 is going to be enough. I think 6 is going to be enough personally. I think Mike Koivenhoven is there with the weekend he had.
So anyone below Mike Koivenhoven are we going for? Yeah. So Daryl Gurney on 5, Chisnell on 5, Hop on 5, West on 5, Labanauskas on 5, Jeffrey DeJuan on 4, Kim on 4, Willie O'Connor on 4, Scott Waits on 4. Currently, the top 32, they're all in danger, is what we think.
Yeah, just about. The thing is that you look at the state of the qualifiers that came through in ET4, and when I say state, I mean not necessarily a disrespectful. That's just a figure of speech. What I'm saying is that they're not the players that are currently got 2 grand, 3 grand that could potentially get up to get into the top 32. Because it's obviously not 13 events like it normally is. I'm actually going to say I want to say 5 safe, but I don't think it is. It's tight.
Interesting.
It's tight.
So I'm just looking tour card holders who have qualified. Oh wow! So Dobes misses out. Dobes hasn't qualified.
Adam Hunt hasn't qualified that much because he's not there in ET4.
No, Dobes hasn't qualified for ET4, so he can't make it through.
I don't think Van der Voort has either. I think, maybe correctly.
No, don't think he has.
Kurtz probably hasn't yet, but we'll get a home nation spot.
No, well, funny enough, I was just coming on to that. If Nico Kurtz can come through the qualifier again, he's got a huge chance of making the Euro finals. So he's currently on 4 grand.
Depends how late people withdraw from this one as well, because if they start dishing out 12 spots, the home nation qualifiers, he's got a great chance.
Yeah, well, this is the thing that we look at the list, right? MVG, will he go? Maybe.
Probably not.
I don't know. Obviously,
the only reason I doubt he'll go because he's qualified. If he didn't qualify, if he hadn't qualified yet, he definitely would have gone. But I don't think he'll go.
Price will go because it's in Risa.
He just wins there every time.
Ian White goes to everything. Peter Wright has pulled out, but he's still showing on the list at the moment. Peter Wright has pulled out, so that will be an extra space to the host nation qualifiers. Ratajski will go, Mensah will go, Gurney has to go, Chisnell will go, Wade. I could see James Wade pulling out.
Well, I tell you what, actually, rather than going through people who will go and lots of stuff, I've just gone through on darts rankings who's definitely going from that top 32 list at the moment. So Adam Hunt's on 4 grand, so is Nico Kurtz. They're both on 4 grand. They're just missing out at this moment in time on countback. Nico Kurtz will probably get that spot. There's no doubt about that. The next person down that list is Ron Moolenkamp on $3,000. So he potentially, if he gets into the second round, he potentially could get in there on countback.
Yeah.
Then another player that could potentially get to the Euros, Andy Hamilton. Hamilton on $3,000 on 41. You've got Bunting there on on $2,000. He's also could be going. He's going to have to do bits in order to try to get there, but he's going to have to win a couple of games in order to make it. You got Mardas Razma as well, who played some stunning stuff in the Winter Series, who almost qualified for the Grand Prix. So, yeah, you know, that's really the only people that I think are in danger of taking those slots. So, I'm gonna say, unless something ridiculous happens, I'm gonna say $5,000 is going to be enough. I'll make a bold prediction on that.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's just going to be a lot of people that are competing against you. Like the draw could completely knacker some people up, and it could be a really dull weekend because if 3 players that have got potential, if one beats the other, that's it, they're out. If they all get open shots and start going deep, then we get a bit interesting.
No, definitely. All to play for. So, yeah, hope that explains the Euro Tour, that it's a bit of a mess and all will become clear.
Yeah.
Opinions about the World Cup of Darts draw? It is what it is.
Fuming. It's a monster of a draw, but I'm fuming.
I think Philippines. If the Philippines hadn't withdrawn, which would have been a shame. It's a real shame that the Philippines didn't withdraw.
They're not actually out yet.
I was about to say, I haven't seen anything.
Apparently.
Yeah, I haven't seen
the translation suggested that, and a lot of people reported that. But there's rumours that there's now a discussion between the PDC and the Philippine Darts Federation about how they can safely get their players there and better communication. So they're not 100% withdrawn as yet, as far as I understand it, but they are on the cusp of doing so.
Well, here's one for you, because obviously, well, the thing is, that section of the draw, where Wales are in, by the way, my goodness, that section of the draw is stacked.
Yeah,
it's horrendous. I mean, there's a comment here. I've just seen, Phil. There's a comment here that says, "What do we think about Team England for the World Cup?" I mean, they're the number 1 seed, but they're carrying about as much form as I am on the dart. That's not a lot.
It's one of those ones. If it clicks,
James Wade and Nathan Aspinall should say they're retiring, and then they'll get picks. One last swan song in Austria.
Look, I think Team England is one of those ones that at the moment they're carrying no form, but on any given night they could click and turn up, like Rob did on the Saturday night of the Euro Tour and stuff like that. So look, at the moment, do I fancy England to win the World Cup? No, but on any given night they could beat any other team.
I mean, I was having Wales to win the World Cup, but Wales against Russia round 1's not great. You then got the winner of Japan and Scotland if you get through that. Obviously, Scotland not without Gary Anderson and Peter Wright, which is a shame. Republic of Ireland against Australia in that game there, or Poland against South Africa. What a quarter of the draw that is!
Yeah, and I must admit, I said last week I fancied Wales to win it before the draw was done. Curse of the tips. So yeah, that's team. That's team.
I fancy Northern Ireland. I'm just putting that out there early.
No.
Gurney and Dolan.
Don't be silly. Come on now.
I fancy Republic of Ireland more than Northern Ireland.
Be realistic. Totally agree with you.
Gurney and Dolan.
Just Jacob's talking based on what we were talking about earlier. Do you think Fallon, Lisa, and Dieter could appear in the Premier League? Not right now, no, unless it's a contenders type thing. But to get in the Premier League, you have to be top 10 in the world or win a TV event. So right now, no. Yeah.
Unless Lisa wins the Grand Slam.
That's what I said. This is just for a TV title. If you win that, then the door's open. In the top 16, who's under the most pressure? Good question.
Mensur Sudovic.
Lewis.
I'm going to call it now.
He's still there.
No, he's out.
Lewis is definitely gone, mate. He's out, obviously, because of the thing. So
He's long gone.
COVID. But, yeah, Mensor's in huge
Daryl Gurney's
trouble.
under some pressure as well.
There's different pressure, though, isn't there? Like, to drop out of the top 16 is different, but there's players in the top 8 who are carrying no form and have got money to defend over the next couple of years. They can find themselves doing an Adrian Lewis. Yeah.
Once you drop at that top 8 and you find yourself around the 15, 16 mark, it's then a slippery slope because you're playing the best players around earlier and you're not picking up that extra money that you are for being...
All right.
Remember,
we're going back to
Gurney's got to defend.
He didn't play everything, but you think how quickly Barney slipped, how quickly Terry Jenkins slipped towards the end, how quickly Mervyn King slipped out of the top 8, 16 and hasn't recovered. Brendan Dolan, another one. And I know they carry different form and perhaps different ability, but you think that's a quality field. A decade ago, they're all title contenders. They're all picking up Pro Tour events and whatever they fancy apart from Barney. I know it's a long time in darts and there's still a battle, but be worried if you did. But
a decade ago, I didn't have a beard.
Even 5 years ago, the names I've just mentioned are competing.
I think
I'm just looking quickly,
ladies in danger of dropping out the top 10.
Yeah. I think. Do you know what though? The big thing for me this year is that obviously Gurney's got to go and defend a Players' Championship finals in a couple of weeks. He's got to go and defend that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Gurney and Wade and Gary are in danger of
115 grand, I think, or
195.
Yeah,
115.
I think it's definitely.
So that's 309. So he drops to 13.
At the moment, post World Championship. Well, this is the post World Championship order, Merritt. Look at the World Championship race at this moment in time. Daryl Gurney is currently 9th. So he played Dimmy van den Berg in round 4, and then he had to, if he gets through that, had to play MVG in the quarterfinals. See you later.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the ones that we think in the top 16. We've done Team England. Could Simon Whitlock be in the Premier League only if he wins a TV title between now and the end of the year?
No.
He was very unlucky a couple of years ago, but I don't think he's done enough this year. The year that he lost in the Grand Prix final, he was very, very unlucky to not be in there. But needs to win a title. He's not the box office.
Let's just call it for what it is. He's got to go and win the Grand Slam. He's got to go and win the Players' Championship, or he's got to go and win he can't win the Euros, but he's got to go and win the Players' Championship. If he does that, then he might do. But if not, let's just call it for what it is.
Wouldn't put it past him dropping up in the quarterfinals of all them events, by the way, because that's a very Simon thing to do. But I just don't think he's got
that is literally what Simon Whitlock
TV
does.
winning him.
That's what Simon Whitlock does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make a good living from that. Steve Beater makes a good living from not making quarterfinals. So Simon Whitlock could definitely make a good living from making quarterfinals.
And Martin, more excited about the World Cup now. Hendo's there. No Hendo, no party.
Big Hendo week.
Big Hendo weekendo.
Anymore, can we? We can't call it that anymore.
Right. He's still big. He's still a very well-built gentleman. He just doesn't have 12 chins anymore.
Yeah, 6 instead.
Right, guys. Last chance to get your questions in because we waffled on long enough. Again, we just want to thank you all for joining in on this extra bumper show. We knew it was going to be long because there was so much to talk about. It's been absolutely chaotic in the darting world, but of course we'll be back this weekend with the live blog, keeping you up to date on events on the Euro Tour from Risa. We will have everything covered there, so make sure you're on the website, onlinedarts.com, of course, our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, with everything covered, our YouTube channel. Make sure you go over and subscribe now. There's some good stuff coming your way as well. I just want to take time to thank you all. Just looking at the response in the analytics as I watch it go along. An absolute bumper show tonight. So thank you all, guys. It means that to us we're doing something right, that we knew this would work, but you guys are coming along for the journey, which is great. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us as always. Phill Bars, Jack Gobby with Jarleth and we have been the Online Darts Live Lounge. We'll let you know next week's once we know what day the PDC are doing the Euro draw. Because there's no point in us doing a show if we haven't got the draw. So once we know what days that is, we'll let you know what day the live lounge is. But that's us done. Signing off. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all next week on the live lounge.